Hey, my name is Christopher Ewen, and today I'll be talking about gaming and how it can affect reaction time and hand-eye coordination. So pretty much everybody plays video games now, from kids to even older people. My dad's generation was pretty much the first to have games, but a lot of people even older than him enjoy them. But a lot of people, especially older people, think that gaming is purely bad and that it can, rot your brain, or that you're just wasting your time when you play games, but that might not necessarily be true. So in this speech, I'll consider gaming's effects on hand-eye coordination and reaction time. Now, I spend a lot of time gaming, even hundreds of hours, and I think that my reaction time and hand-eye coordination are both pretty good, and I do attribute a little bit of that to gaming. And I'm interested in the effects of gaming, whether positive or negative. If there's bad things about gaming, I'd like to know, because that's what I spend my time doing. So I'm going to touch on hand-eye coordination and reaction time, basically what those mean and what they do, whether gaming affects them, and the weight of the pros and cons of gaming in our daily lives, and whether it's worth it to game. So I do hope this is educating. I'm really interested in this topic, so I hope that my watchers will be as well. So hand-eye coordination and reaction time, they're both pretty important to our daily lives. I can't say if we didn't have these, because it's hard to imagine not having hand-eye coordination or reaction time at all. But I will give a definition of these real quick. Merriam-Webster classifies hand-eye coordination as the way that one's hands and sight work together to be able to do things that require speed and accuracy. So it's basically, if you're not looking at something, but you're doing it with your hands, or you're looking at something and doing something else with your hands, it's just your eyes and hands working together to get something done faster. And reaction time, according to dictionary.com, is the interval between stimulation and response. So it's basically, you see something happening, you respond to it. The faster that is, the better your reaction time is. And hand-eye coordination and reaction time both develop as you age, and they start from when you're born. Hand-eye coordination usually starts with the child grabbing a toy or a parent's finger or something like that, and then that develops over time, and it usually reaches its peak in development speed at about 5, and from then on it just sharpens and gets a little bit better, and you can specialize it in certain things. Reaction time is similar, except that it keeps going all the way until you're fully mentally mature, and then it stays level, and as you get older it'll drop off. And that's why we have problems like old people driving and having a hard time responding. So how these affect gaming. Now, I was honestly surprised by how much gaming affects hand-eye coordination and response time. I didn't figure it would be of this magnitude, but as far as reaction time goes, I found an article from a website called SciPost, and they said that it affects it pretty quickly. And if you game for even 10 hours, you've never gamed before, you start playing an action video game, 10 hours later, if you're tested, you'll be significantly faster in your reaction time than other people who don't game and haven't gamed at all. Now, as for hand-eye coordination, it's a little less affected by gaming, but I found 2 articles that kind of conflict with each other, and I'll explain why I believe they do. But the first one, from the Journal of Undergraduate Kinesiology Research, found that it doesn't affect hand-eye coordination, and they did a test on football players where they had the football players play some action games like Call of Duty, and after they played for a certain amount of time, I think maybe 20 hours, just incrementally, they tested them with some football players who hadn't been playing the action games, and they both got the same result. But in another article I found, which was posted by the University of Toronto, they did a similar test, but it was with people who are slightly younger, and they did have some boosts in both reaction time and hand-eye coordination from gaming. So from what I was looking at and researching, the difference is in the age. If you're older and you're mentally mature, you're going to have a harder time getting better hand-eye coordination out of gaming. But if you're younger and your mind is still working and maturing and growing, you'll be able to get a lot out of gaming as far as hand-eye coordination goes. So, as of whether or not these are worth it in gaming, I would say they are. I haven't found any negative aspects of gaming to be realistic. People just, like I mentioned earlier, say that it'll rot your brain or something like that. Most of those reasons are just excuses, I believe, to get on to people for something that you don't like. But I would say it's definitely worth it, and also that if you think video games are negative, that's fine. You don't have to game. But it is good to look at the pros and cons together and compare them fully. So this is what I found. I like this topic and gaming in general, so I'm going to continue to research as I go. So my points that I went over. Hand-eye coordination and reaction time are very important. They matter a lot for daily life, and if we didn't have them, we probably wouldn't exist as a species. And gaming does positively affect them, especially reaction time. And some people might not find that worth it, but it certainly is if you take everything into account. So gaming does have a positive influence, as far as we know with the current science that we use. And like I said, I'll continue to look at that as time goes on. Gaming is important socially, so hopefully more positives will be discovered in gaming. If this doesn't happen, that's fine. But since I enjoy gaming, I hope that it continues to positively affect social structure and life as we know it.